we go. Okay, so we live, man. I'm live. I'm at the gym. I am doing my thing at the gym. Uh, Sitting here watching a couple YouTube videos on my feed, and I watched a video from AM Sports. Well, first of all, shout out to them dudes, AM Sports. Uh, I think them dudes is based out of Georgia and shit like that. I got family in Georgia. I got friends and family in Georgia, so shout out to them. Just saw a video saying that according to Errol Spence, and they agree with Errol Spence that Boots Ennis is not ready to fight Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. This is before. Now this is if you go back in history, right? Especially with Boots Ennis, he was the boogeyman, right? Before he fought the dude Karen. I'm gonna call his name Karen because I can't pronounce his last name. Or KC. His last name starts with a C. His long ass name. But after he fought KC, he's no longer the boogeyman. He's an ordinary man, ordinary fighter with flaws. He can't cut off the ring. He gets hit flush too much. Um, and he can't adjust when his ring IQ is low because of one fight. I think it's kind of ridiculous because like the people are saying that Boots Ennis is not ready. That same logic can be applied to Anthony Joshua, right? Remember Anthony Joshua, and I believe this is his 18th or 19th fight. He fought for a world title against Klitschko. We all know this. I would definitely say he wasn't ready, but they put him in there because uh, because Eddie Hearn and them dudes at Matchroom, they built this dude up. They pretty much destroyed his career. Anthony Joshua should have not been fighting no damn Klitschko for his 18th or 19th pro fight, right? They built this dude up, put him in there with pretty much any and everybody, style-wise, stylistically. He wasn't ready for Klitschko. We saw the outcome of that fight. That was lucky that he got up off the canvas off that punch by Klitschko, right? He wasn't even ready for Andy Ruiz Jr. And this is a guy that underestimated. So I give and I compare Anthony Joshua and Boots Ennis, Jerron Boots Ennis together because they have similar paths, but a little bit different. Boots, they navigated and managed his fights very careful. Remember, he's at his 30th pro fight, and people are still saying he's not ready. Anthony Joshua fought for a world title. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off memory. I did not go back and look at the actual record, but I know for a fact Anthony Joshua fought for a world title before his 20th fight. So it was in the team, right? So they put him in there with Klitschko, and we saw what happened. He won, but it was a struggle, complete struggle. And those flaws and deficiencies weren't corrected ever since then. They put him in there with Andy Ruiz Jr. We saw what happened with that, right? And of course, the guy that he fought that's extremely technical, a boxer with ring IQ, he couldn't handle. And we all know who we're talking about, right? That he lost twice to him. Pretty much killed his career because they try to build this guy up because of his looks and because he can sell out stadiums. He was a cash cow in the heavyweight division. They just wanted to make this guy bigger than what he is because of the revenue he can generate. Selling out 80,000 seat stadiums, no problem. Record breaking live gates and pay-per-views. That's what Anthony Joshua was doing, and they wanted to continue that momentum, and they couldn't do that, right? They built this dude up. But with Boots Ennis, a little bit different. They're carefully calculated with this guy, right? He gets in there with the guy that's completely unknown, completely foreign, right? A guy named KC. And these guys, as in AM Sports and other detractors, and let's just also say this, that I'm not even a big fan of Boots Ennis. I just want to call it objectively, down the middle, from what I see, right? Observation. So Boots spots a guy that's completely unknown. People are saying he should have watched tape. Well, even Boots' father was like, "What's the point of watching tape when the guy ain't fight the same when he fought Boots compared to his last fight? His last 2 or 3 fights you watch, and I can watch them on YouTube. He fought a completely different fight. He stood in the pocket and boxed. He didn't stick and move and all this other shit. He doing sticking the punches. He was standing in the pocket and mixing it up when he fought Boots. And even with his own interview, he said his job was to move, take away his jab, and counter. That's what he said. Move, take away his jab, and counter. But Karen said that Boots is an all-around fighter, and that he couldn't counter like he should because Boots will counter his counter, right? So that's my point. You know what I'm saying? It's like dudes are saying that Boots Ennis is not ready, this and that, when the fact that he's 30 fights in, right? He just fought a guy he completely dominated. Call it what you want. I think you guys fail to realize he won every round. Whether you want to look at the scorecards or not, he won every single round. The judges gave Boots Ennis 11 rounds to 1, or 10-2, whatever the case may be. He pretty much shut him out, shut out Karen. He won every round. That wasn't good enough. So in order for him, as a Boots, to be solidified, he has to knock every single opponent out, right? When guys like Errol Spence failed to knock out a guy that's 130 pounds, and we all know who he's talking about, right? He didn't even knock out a guy that's 130, 135 pounds, a fighter. Couldn't even knock that guy out. But you expect a guy like Boots to fight an unknown guy, completely unknown, not from the U.S., to knock out a guy that pretty much had a style that nobody could predict that he was going to do. And yeah, I mean, I would definitely say when I watched the fight, yeah, Boots had trouble cutting off the ring. That is correct. He did. He could have adjusted a little bit better. That is correct. But that doesn't mean he's not ready. That doesn't mean anything. You can have guys that are quote unquote ready, and when they get in there with live dogs, they get their ass beat. So that logic doesn't make any sense either. Um, but the simple fact that the guy went 12 rounds, wasn't tired, won every single round pretty much. That lets you know that the guy can go 12 rounds and the guy can stay in there. He can stay in there and be in a dogfight. So, but I think this plan from Boots, I think this plan, whether they did it intentionally or not, I think this plan worked because this showed that Boots is an ordinary fighter based off public opinion now. Public opinion is saying that Boots is ordinary. He's not a boogeyman anymore. So that would basically means that guys should want to fight him now, right? When you see somebody that's vulnerable, that's ordinary, guys are willing to step up to the plate. Like, yeah, okay, I see flaws in him. I can beat him. As before, he was the boogeyman and nobody was calling this guy out. People were avoiding him. Now, even guys like Errol Spence are acknowledging that Boots has flaws. Because if Boots had knocked out KC, you wouldn't hear no response from Errol Spence or everybody else. You wouldn't hear no response. There'll be another day in the office. You'll be saying that guys are afraid to fight Boots. He's a boogeyman, this and that. But the fact that he's a quote unquote ordinary and vulnerable against a pretty much unknown fighter, then guys are willing to say a lot, right? Call him out and say that he is uh, overrated, ordinary fighter, etc. Right? So, so yeah, those are my 2 cents on that, man. I just wanted to just wanted to share my thoughts about guys talking about Boots Ennis saying he's not ready. Like apply that same logic to every fighter who fights for their first world title, right? Look at their previous fight and say, okay, he's ready because he knocked the dude out in 3 rounds. But then he gets in there with a live dog. I'm just saying for an example. He gets in there with some live competition. He gets his ass beat. What does that mean, right? So you got to look at it from all perspectives. And you got to look at style matchups too. So yeah, I would say that stylistically that Boots has problems with guys that can box and move. Okay, he has problems that with guys that can box and move. Okay, that's a flaw. That's a flaw that can be corrected. But that doesn't mean that um, the guy with that style can beat him. A guy with that style that can beat Anthony Joshua, you saw what happened. He has problems with guys that box and move. He has problems with guys that are slick boxers and slick counterpunchers. That's his flaw, and it has not that was not corrected ever since Klitschko. Because remember, Klitschko caught him with a counter shot. Remember that. So he has problems with guys that counter. So these guys have flaws that need to be corrected, but it was too late for Joshua because it was way too early to have him in there with guys like Klitschko in the life. So anyway, Pam, those are my thoughts on that quick video. And I'm just ranting, so just leave your comments down below. I'm gonna come back with y'all with more content. Till next time, signing out. Peace.